The 40th anniversary season here at Reynolds Coliseum in Raleigh, and today it should be a dandy with Georgia Tech against NC State. Hi everybody, Bob Rathman, Dan Bonner. A lot of offensive firepower on display here today, Dan. It should be a dandy.
Ought to be a great game. Dennis Scott, Rodney Monroe, Kenny Anderson, Chris Corchiani, a lot of marquee players. Ought to be a real fine game.
Indeed. Let's take a look at the starting lineups as NC State and Georgia Tech go head-to-head here. And as you see, for Georgia Tech, Scott up front along with Oliver and Anderson. That's the big three. They average over 70 points a game. Rodney Monroe is the Wolfpack's leading scorer at 22.3.
North Carolina State electing to go with their big lineup, if you will. Mickey Hinnant has played very well recently for them in a couple of starting assignments. Look to see him early in the basketball game.
Malcolm Mackey wins the tip, and Georgia Tech in blue with the basketball. The 13th rated team in the country, 6-0 in the month of February, and 6-4 in the ACC.
North Carolina State starts out in a man-to-man defense.
Gugliotta has Anderson on the switch. Now Corchiani comes over to help.
You notice, I think that's something that's going to happen. Gugliotta went out and double teamed. I think you'll see Gugliotta and D'Amico getting out and trying to leave their men and guard the big three.
Malcolm Mackey missing. McNeil fighting for the rebound, and Georgia Tech maintains possession.
That's sort of what I was talking about, Bob. Look for D'Amico and Gugliotta to drop off McNeil and Malcolm Mackey, and so if they're active in there, they ought to be able to get their hands on some rebounds, as McNeil did it on that particular occasion.
These two, Mackey and McNeil, don't get a lot of ink with the offensive exploits of their three other starters, but they've played well recently, and Georgia Tech has won 6 in a row. Lob in is a bad one, but it's off D'Amico and out of bounds.
Bob, those two guys, McNeil and Mackey, as you get a look at D'Amico right there, who made a pretty good defensive play, they have played well, but if you're Jim Valvano, you'd much rather they be handling the ball and shooting the ball than those three guys. If you're the opposition coach, you want Malcolm Mackey and Johnny McNeil to beat you. Look, this guy. There's a double team. McNeil's all alone under the basket. D'Amico just left it.
Scott missing the first three-point shot of the day, and Georgia Tech has it again. Boy, State screaming for a foul. Malcolm Mackey puts it in for the first 2 points of the game.
Jim Valvano's telling Chris Corchiani, don't yell at the ref, get the ball up the court. Corchiani very upset that there was no foul called. The Yellow Jackets start in a man-to-man defense as well.
Monroe inside, Brian Howard the turnaround. And McNeil can't control the rebound. Howard's got it. This is the chippy.
That was great defense by Kenny Anderson.
Anderson hooks the pass inside, not deflected, and it's a 3-on-none NC State blowout with Monroe.
A little bit too fancy on that particular occasion by Kenny Anderson. That's part of the package, though. He's going to make some great plays. He's going to make some plays that look like that.
Johnny McNeil, North Carolina. Anderson inside. Here is Scott to the bucket. Oh!
Through a triple team there.
And State the other way. Gugliotta ties it.
I'll tell you what, Bob. Tom Gugliotta runs the court as well as any big guy in this league. And if you're Georgia Tech and you don't pay attention to where he is, I'll bet you he gets 3 or 4 baskets a game just simply by running the court.
Tied at 4. Brian Oliver. Scott whips it inside to McNeil. Great pass. Great rejection for State.
Again, State leaving McNeil and Mackey. Much rather play against McNeil and Mackey that close to the basket than Scott and Oliver and Anderson further away.
Corchiani a 3, and the Wolfpack takes the lead.
You see Corchiani, he's got his hands on Anderson, bumps him whenever he can. A very physical defensive style by Chris Corchiani, and in this case, he gets the 5-second count.
Turnover forced by Corchiani, and Bobby Cremins looks on as his ball club is behind by 3 here in the opening minutes, 7-4.
One of the reasons that North Carolina State has had such a good season is that Chris Corchiani has been able to be active and a factor in almost all of their games. Brian Howard working for position inside, and this is one way you get at Dennis Scott. You try to attack him, but he's a better defensive player than you think, as he shows right there.
And this pass is taken away by Corchiani. Again, State uncontested at the other end, and it's Howard to put it home. 9-4, Wolfpack.
Corchiani may not be able to take it from Anderson, but as you can see, he took it from Scott.
Oliver. Here's Scott for three. That's an air ball. Gugliotta gets it out now to Corchiani. Monroe for three. Rebound McNeil. Up ahead, here's Oliver. Through his hands and out of bounds.
Oliver's going to the basket before he caught the ball. He knew he had a step.
A timeout on the floor here at Reynolds Coliseum in Raleigh, and the Wolfpack off to a quick start, leading 9-4.
Guys, don't spend Valentine's Day in line and run the risk of a disappointed sweetheart. Instead, go online now. Send her a gift she'll want to show off. Beautiful roses for just $19.99. She gets roses, you save 50%. Order now, and she also gets this elegant vase and personalized card free. Or dazzle her with this deluxe gift: classic red roses, a spa kit, and all these extras for just $20 more. Hurry, supplies are limited. We deliver on time any day of the week, guaranteed. So schedule your perfect delivery day now. Go to proflowers.com. Click on the microphone in the upper right corner. Enter classic in the box.
ProFlowers' value is incredible.
All the other girls in the office are always jealous.
He made all the other men look pretty bad. I really enjoyed getting the roses. They were just gorgeous.
This TV offer is 50% less than retail pricing, but only if you go to proflowers.com. Click on the microphone in the upper right corner. Enter classic in the box. Or call toll-free 1-800-FRESHEST and mention TV. Go online now.
Could you use an extra $500 or $1,000 fast? Sometimes you need a little short-term help for bills, car repairs, or just some extra money until your next payday. You can get the cash you need fast, and it's so easy. Call now, apply in 5 minutes, and get an instant approval. Whether you've got bad credit or have been turned down by other lenders, call Payday Panda now. We work with over 60 lenders to match you with the one that fits your cash needs in one easy application. It's your money, so use it for anything you want.
NBA Friday night doubleheader. Coverage of Lakers-Knicks begins at 7:30 Eastern. Then Thunder Jazz at 10:30. Friday on ESPN.
On the strength of a 7-0 run over the last minute and 36 seconds, the Wolfpack jumps into the lead, and it's been with pretty good defense. Here, Rodney Monroe gets back and steals the ball on the Dennis Scott pass. You can see Brian Oliver a little disgusted. That's 4 Georgia Tech turnovers. Brian Howard down the court with the dunk. North Carolina State has had 3 uncontested baskets, and that's a big part of the reason why they're leading in the basketball game.
Georgia Tech has turned it over 4 times as opposed to State's 1. And the Wolfpack controlling things here at the outset.
Both of these teams like the running style. Georgia Tech coming off a tough trip. This is their 3rd road game in 7 days. They had a tough time getting in here from New York, where they played Fordham the other night. They look a little bit weary at the outset, and certainly against a team like North Carolina State, you don't want to let them get too far ahead before you kick it into gear.
A packed house at Reynolds Coliseum cheering on the exploits of the Wolfpack as Rodney Monroe has it on the wing. Now Gugliotta.
State really looking to get the ball inside to Brian Howard against Dennis Scott.
Howard missing the shot. Gugliotta steals it, drops it. Howard's got it. NC State resets. Here's Corchiani, baseline, air ball. Oliver's got it. A little disjointed on that possession. Here's Scott.
Everybody ran away from Brian Oliver. They didn't realize he was falling down on that first rebound. It's awfully difficult to make a good pass from the seat of your pants.
Underneath, Scott missed it. Here's Monroe. Working on Oliver and draws the foul.
That's a real good matchup right there, too. Brian Oliver, a good defensive player, but North Carolina State trying to take advantage and attacking Georgia Tech on the defensive end. You may not be able to stop Dennis Scott and Brian Oliver when Georgia Tech has the ball on offense, but you can get after them when they're trying to play defense, maybe force them into some foul trouble.
One of the premier free throw shooters in the country, Rodney Monroe, getting his 3rd point of the game. His season percentage at 82%. Kevin Thompson coming in for the Wolfpack, and Brian D'Amico goes out of the game.
Thus far, you'd have to say that North Carolina State's game plan is working pretty well. They're dropping off Mackey and McNeil. Every shot that the big 3 for Georgia Tech have gotten has been very hotly contested, including that last layup missed by Dennis Scott. There was 3 guys who were after that ball.
11-4 Wolfpack. Scott flanks it off. Corchiani taken away by Kenny Anderson. Kenny up and in.
Well, it's not very often that you see Chris Corchiani get his pocket picked, but Kenny Anderson showed you what kind of defense he can play. Well, he didn't break his shoulder, so no advantage for Dennis Scott.
Monroe outside. Rodney. Strong rebound for Brian Howard. Count it, and a foul on Mackey. First on the Chattanooga, Tennessee freshman.
Rodney Monroe very effective off the dribble as he penetrates inside. Watch here, he penetrates inside. Dennis Scott is going to come over to help right there, and then Brian Howard, nobody blocks him out. Scott and Howard are matched up. Howard gets the rebound, draws the foul. But it's that penetration of Monroe that created that. Dennis Scott had to come over to help.
Brian Howard off to a good start with 5 points, and they're looking for him, as you pointed out, Dan, to go against Dennis Scott at the other end of the floor. Howard's numbers in this, his senior year, just about the same as his junior season. Wolfpack hoping that his production might have been a little greater this year.
Well, he's had very good games against ACC opponents.
Inside, Scott.
Now, see, nobody's guarding Mackey. There, Monroe drops back inside. And every time the ball goes inside to Dennis Scott, you see either Thompson or Mackey or Gugliotta drop off.
Gugliotta, that may be too long, but Corchiani saves it. McNeil fights for it, and Georgia Tech controls. Dennis Scott, and that's going to be a foul on Brian Howard.
Now, the difference there is that Dennis Scott lost the ball out of bounds. I don't think a foul gets called if Scott doesn't lose the ball out of bounds, because there wasn't a lot of contact, but that contact caused him to lose the ball out of bounds, gave Brian Howard, the defender, an advantage. That's a pretty good call right there. Now, see how Gugliotta just went right from Mackey. It's made Oliver stop his penetration.
And Corchiani sticking right with Kenny Anderson. Oliver for 3. That's short. Dan, we've seen Scott with a couple of air balls. There's one by Oliver, and I'm wondering about Georgia Tech's legs.
Absolutely. You got to wonder if they've gotten their legs under him yet. Shooting that 3-pointer really does require a lot of leg action. Doesn't look like a lot of leg strength out there at the moment for the Yellow Jackets.
NC State, 14-6 leaders. Brian Howard over Scott. No. And McNeil with another board.
McNeil doing a nice job on the boards.
Oliver backs in, left it short. Mackey follows, tips it in. Malcolm Mackey's second basket. And it's 14-8, NC State.
You can't let Malcolm Mackey hurt you if you're North Carolina State. You're doing such a good job on the other 3 guys. You can't let him get off.
Monroe. 6 points early for Rodney. At the other end, Dennis Scott knocks it down and scores.
Boy, great catch. I thought that pass was a little too long. Just a great catch by Dennis Scott.
Monroe at the other end. And Brian Oliver got it.
That's 2 fouls now on Brian Oliver. North Carolina State really pushing the ball up the court. They are probably a team in the Atlantic Coast Conference that wants to get the ball out and run more than any other team. Even after a made basket, which you saw right there, North Carolina State immediately up the court. You've got to be turned around and ready to play against them right away. Big problem for Bobby Kermans now. Brian Oliver with 2 personal fouls.
Bobby's going to leave him in the game. Brought him over to the bench for a little consultation, but Oliver will stay in. Meanwhile, Monroe good on the first of 2.
What you may see now with Mickey Hinnett in the game for North Carolina State, you may see Carl Brown, who's come in for Georgia Tech, match up against Rodney Monroe and move Oliver over to Hinnett, where you think he might not be in so much trouble, but Hinnett is a very active player on the offensive end of the court.
A rare miss for Monroe at the line. 17-10, NC State.
Wolfpack staying in that man-to-man defense. Now you're hitting it. You don't want to switch off Dennis Scott.
Dennis again missing the three, and a foul inside on the Yellow Jackets. And Malcolm Mackey guilty for his second foul.
I don't know that I've ever seen Dennis Scott shoot a ball that looked worse than that one. Looked like he shot that off the heel of his hand. No rotation on it at all. Mickey Hinnant, I think, made a mistake. You don't want to switch off Dennis Scott. You can switch off Mackey. You can switch off McNeil, but not Dennis Scott out there.
Here's Gugliotta. Scott is 0 for 3 in three-pointers. Meanwhile, Torchiani 2 for 2.
North Carolina State, with the substitution of Hinnant, really confused the guys from Georgia Tech. They didn't know who they were guarding. Torchiani got loose.
20-10, NC State. Here's Anderson. Scott. Brown knocked it away from D'Amico, but Bryant's going to control it. Pack quickly moving it into the attacking zone. Gugliotta for three. It's good.
We talked about Gugliotta getting down the floor. Again, you see it. Bobby Cremins is calling timeout, but Gugliotta runs the floor, positions himself for that three-point shot. He's an excellent three-point shooter.
It's all.
This is a public announcement. CNNMoney.com reports that in some areas of the country, buyers are scooping up homes for as little as $1,000. Foreclosures are at an all-time high. Government and private banks are liquidating these homes now. If you currently rent a house or apartment, you may call now and learn how to receive your free list of these homes. All others may call tomorrow. Every house must be sold. This is a public announcement.
Call 1-800-796-7086. That's 1-800-796-7086. Call now.
Rivalry week is hotter than ever as number 1 and number 3 in the country put their feet to the fire. Double-double man Jared Sullinger aims to keep the Buckeyes atop the Big Ten, but the Spartans look to knock them off their perch in Columbus. And are you serious? Top-ranked Kentucky faces a huge SEC road test against Vandy, who have a history of taming the Wildcats at home. Michigan State, Ohio State at 6, Kentucky, Vanderbilt at 9, Saturday on ESPN.
Shooters not only stocks the top name brand firearms, Shooters also carries top name brand accessories, including a large selection of name brand optics like Leupold, Nikon, Swarovski, Zeiss, Millet, Nightforce, Trijicon, and many more in all price ranges. You name it, Shooters has it at the guaranteed best price. Scopes, rangefinders, binoculars, spotting scopes, and more. Shooters will mount and bore sight your scope free of charge with purchase of optic. Shooters firearms and accessories will not be undersold.
At Ruby Tuesday, you know lunch can be relaxing. Come in and try our limited time lunch special for just $5.99. It starts with our made-from-scratch garlic cheese biscuits. Includes Ruby Tuesday's new Endless Salad Bowl with a crispest lettuce, our legendary croutons, and Parmesan cheese. And a choice of flavorful house-made soups like white bean chicken chili or broccoli cheddar. Come on in and enjoy our $5.99 lunch special while it lasts. Ruby Tuesday, your place.
Bob Rathman, Dan Bonner back in Raleigh. NC State 23 and Georgia Tech 10. We have 11 minutes and 11 seconds left in this first half of play. Jimmy V's Wolfpacks setting the house afire here.
Georgia Tech normally excellent shooting. Georgia Tech on the year shoots almost 53%. That's nowhere close to 53. That's not even 33. North Carolina State's defense has had a lot to do with that, though. Dropping off Mackey, dropping off Brown, dropping off McNeil, making it very difficult for the other guys.
Brian Oliver leaves it short, and Roddy Monroe pushing it ahead for the Wolfpack. Monroe will take it himself.
Said North Carolina State likes to run.
And a turnover.
Georgia Tech just not handling the ball very well early in the basketball game. It's now 7 turnovers by the Yellow Jackets.
Monroe missing that one, and Scott the rebound. Carl Brown is open and connects. Oh, the senior from England getting Georgia Tech to within 13. State, Dan, has done a great job. They have dedicated themselves to pushing the ball at the floor against Georgia Tech today, and they've succeeded. Here's Corchiani, and Scott rebound.
3 on 3.
Carl Brown hit one from the right side a moment ago. Misses from the left. Gugliotta saves it.
Nice hustle by D'Amico. That ball was headed out of bounds.
Hinnant.
Not much time to catch your breath in this ball game.
Not at all. That coming the other way. In the middle, here's Anderson to Oliver. Great look-away pass in the lane.
That was really close to over and back right there. Brown pitching it back to Kenny Anderson right about that half-court line. Gives the coach gray hair if you're playing around with the half-court line, but of course Georgia Tech's coach has about as much gray hair as he's going to get.
Gives him black hair. Out of the corner, Monroe misfires, but D'Amico's got it.
Another thing to think about with NC State, they do a lot of shooting from the perimeter, and you have an awful lot of long rebounds in that situation. McNeil had pretty good position, but it was just a long board.
9:05 to play in the half.
Not the first pause that we've had. Georgia Tech zone defense now for the first time.
Hinnant, short. Here come the Yellow Jackets. Kenny Anderson trying to hit the trailing Scott. Gets it back. And misses it all the way around and out. Hinnant clearing. D'Amico to Corgiani. Monroe. Yep. Oh, rolled off. No. Scott the board.
Well, it was that way on one end. It's only fair, I guess, that it happened on the other.
Scott. Long range. Oliver. Stuffed by Gugliotta on a foul. And Brian Oliver wiggling inside. He's known for that. He's such an outstanding rebounding guard that he is.
Of course, Brian Oliver almost has to be an outstanding rebounding guard because inside Georgia Tech really is not that strong. And Brian Oliver, he'll get 3 or 4 of those every basketball game. He's going to go to the free throw line. D'Amico and Gugliotta sit down. Real small lineup in the basketball game right now for NC State. Fagans and Brian Howard coming back in. So North Carolina State going with very small team.
Third point of the day for Brian Oliver. He had a big game against the Pack in Atlanta, scored 27 and did it in the second half on a bad ankle. Puts this one home. And it is 25-16. NC State leading with 8:20 to play in the first half.
Georgia Tech trying to set what looks like a 1-3-1.
Inside, here's Fagans. And puts it in. Soft touch from close range.
That zone very widely spread. A lot of opportunity to maneuver inside. Fagans did a nice job stepping into an open area.
Quick pass off the hands of one of the Wolfpack players. Corgiani's pointing at Kenny Anderson, but to no avail. And we've got an official's timeout on the floor. NC State leading Georgia Tech 27-16.
Does being over 40 make you feel like half the man you used to be? Do you feel more tired, more moody, out of shape, not in the mood like you used to be? If you said yes to any of these questions, it's not your fault. You might have reduced testosterone. Starting in your early 30s, a man's testosterone declines 1 to 3% every year. By age 50, you may have already lost half of your testosterone. That explains a lot. But now, for the first time ever, you can boost testosterone levels safely and naturally to feel like you did 20 years ago. Introducing Ageless Male, a scientific breakthrough clinically proven to increase testosterone levels by, get this, 61%. And today, we're giving you the opportunity to try it risk-free. Dr. Jacob Rosenstein, a leading neurosurgeon, graduate of Johns Hopkins Medical School, and age management specialist, has discovered the secret to boosting testosterone levels naturally.
You'll notice a boost in your energy levels. You'll notice your muscle mass increase. You'll notice fat disappearing around your belly. Your mood will improve.
He's 56. Just look at Dr. Rosenstein's transformation.
I've got 2 sons, a 26-year-old and a 24-year-old. And I'm in better shape than they are.
So call now and try Ageless Male risk-free. If you would like to experience what healthy testosterone levels can feel like, more energy and increased physical performance, better mood, focus, concentration, and more romance when you want it, you really need to give Ageless Male a try.
It's amazing how you'll feel once your testosterone levels are restored to normal.
Supplies for this risk-free offer are extremely limited, so don't hesitate. Call or go online now.
Call 1-800-498-2079.
7:51 left in the opening half. NC State 27 and Georgia Tech 16.
Georgia Tech showing a little bit more life here in the last couple of minutes. Dennis Scott, 2 for 8 from the field overall, 0 for 4 on three-pointers. He shoots 50% overall in the year, 44% from three-point range.
Right to the hole. Left Corchiani in his wake and put it in.
We talked about the quickness of Corchiani against the physical defensive or the quickness of Anderson against the physical defensive style of Corchiani. Advantage Anderson right there.
27-18 is the score with NC State leading. The pace of the game has slowed just a bit. You get the zone defense like that. You get the feeling, Dan, Tech's starting to creep back into this one.
Well, you do. North Carolina State playing at such a frantic pace early in the ball game. It's possible they just slowed down.
Corchiani had nowhere to go, and Scott takes it away.
That's excellent defense against Corchiani. You make him get in very, very deep, and when he gives up the ball, he's got no place to go.
Anderson tied up inside by Feggins, and he'll go to the line.
Johnny McNeil doing a nice job moving inside. This is Kenny Anderson with a heck of a pass to get him. Now, Chris Corchiani's main game, if you will, is the penetration. Here he penetrates in, gets up in the air. Notice that Dennis Scott doesn't go to him until the last minute, and then Georgia Tech overall dropping down inside, cutting off Feggins. That's excellent defense against Chris Corchiani's penetration.
Johnny McNeil is from High Point, North Carolina. Scores his first point of the game. McNeil went to Shawan, school that produced one of the great guards in NC State history, Nate McMillan. McNeil pumps them both home.
7-point game.
Tech's on a 10-2 run to close within 7. Corchiani matched up against Oliver Bryan with those 2 fouls. Feggins a running hook.
Boy, that's a nice job by McNeil blocking out against Brian Howard.
Anderson, oh my, how did he get that ball back?
That's an amazing play by Kenny Anderson. What hands?
Oh,
what
incredible.
Gugliotta in a tough spot right here.
And stuffs the shot and forces a hell ball, and he's got a couple of words for Oliver, too.
Well, he has a right to have a couple of words. Out there on the perimeter, you figure Oliver with the advantage. Gugliotta, watch him move his feet, doesn't let Oliver by, holds his ground. That's just a great defensive play by Tom Gugliotta. If you're Brian Oliver, your eyes got to light up when you got a big guy out there guarding you. Gugliotta and Oliver had words a little earlier.
Feggins back to the basket. And a great block there by McNeil. 2 tremendous defensive plays.
Feggins, the old thing happens to him. He turns around and gives the fake. Now watch this. So fake and McNeil doesn't move. That's a very discouraging feeling. You're down there in the 3-second lane. You fake and the guy stands there and looks at you. Nice play.
Come on, cooperate.
Hey, coach said you would leave your feet if I did that.
Yeah. Scott trying to find the range. Puts it in, draws the foul. A potential 4-point play coming.
You know, Bob, he has had 4 open 3-point shots that he has shot horribly. And here he comes off the screen, gets slapped while he's shooting the ball, and right in the basket it goes. Brian Howard has to be disgusted with that.
Second foul on Brian Howard. Yeah, you look at the tape tomorrow, and Coach Grumman says, Dennis, you're too wide open. Wait till about 3 or 4 guys come around and hammer you before you launch that 3.
Well, it's possible that Dennis Scott was trying to compensate there. He knew he was shooting long, so that time he planned on getting hit. The ball would shorten up a little bit.
Ryan D'Amico back in for NC State.
Yeah, sure.
Scott waiting for his 8th point and has it a 4-point play for Georgia Tech. And all of a sudden, the NC State lead is down to 3.
14-2 run by the Wolfpack.
The biggest lead was 15 at 25-10, now 27-24.
You know, Bob, on Monday night against Clemson, North Carolina State ran out to a 30-15 lead and then sort of dived. That's a foul on McNeil. He pushed D'Amico inside.
First foul on McNeil.
McNeil's been doing a heck of a job inside on the boards. That time D'Amico had him trapped under the basket. McNeil had to push off to get that position, but getting back to that game on Monday night against Clemson, NC State started out like a house of fire, and it looked like they ran out of gas a little bit, and it's sort of deja vu here for Jim Valvano. His team ran out with a very frantic pace, and as the pace has slowed down, so has North Carolina State's game. D'Amico really working on McNeil inside. Carl Brown is going to draw the charge.
Rodney Monroe with personal number 2, and perhaps a little frustration setting in.
That's such a key against both Rodney Monroe and Chris Corchiani. If you're playing defense, you have to deny penetration. This is a team, North Carolina State, where if you're guarding them, you really have to play them one-on-one, because if they penetrate, then they're very, very dangerous.
Anderson missing. Howard rebounding.
Nice rebound. There's Gugliotta beating everybody down the court.
Corchiani, no. Tip goes across off the hands of Brown, and it's out of bounds to NC State. Talk about those defenders. Carl Brown's a guy that can get your shirt and stay there, too.
Well, Carl Brown really plays hard when he's in the game. He averages about 26 minutes a game for Bobby Cremins, and just really goes after.
4:35 left in the first half. NC State leading by 3. Wolfpack now content to work it around the perimeter.
Well, it looks like Georgia Tech's actually trying to play a box-and-one against that.
Oh, what a tip. Gugliotta.
Of course, when you're in a box-and-one, it makes the blockout responsibilities tough, but what a pass by Anderson.
Boy, he is something. Got him with 4. 29-26. NC State.
McNeil doing a nice job not hanging his head with that tip-in by Gugliotta and getting down the court, getting himself in position.
Googs on the baseline.
Now, Gugliotta can flat shoot the basketball. You cannot let that young man open for those jumpers.
Anderson off the window.
That's just too fast for Corchiani. He blew right by Chris. Chris was even with him, running as hard as he could and losing ground every step of the way.
31-28, NC State.
Georgia Tech, 1-3-1 zone.
D'Amico.
See Gugliotta catch the ball, step behind that line. Howard will do the same thing. Monroe will do the same thing. There's Gugliotta open.
Howard missed the jam follow. Oh, he had it measured.
Nobody around him. Nobody around him. Maybe that's one you pull down and go back up and dunk it. Of course, I wouldn't know about any of that.
I was going to say, some of your teammates may have related those circumstances too. Here's Brown.
Corchiani trying to keep the ball away from Anderson.
Brown driving through, gives to Oliver, and draws the foul. And there's a situation, Dan, where Brown delivers the basketball to Oliver. Brown really had nowhere to go.
Oliver was underneath and behind the basket. That foul's going to be against Tom Gugliotta. Now watch Gugliotta come. You can see D'Amico's got him forced under the basket. What's he going to do under there?
Just hold your ground. Instead, Oliver will shoot 2 shots.
But there's Oliver again, nominally a guard, playing underneath, drawing fouls from the big guys. He misses that free throw. Jim Valvano has to be a little frustrated at this point. His team really did start out well, but Georgia Tech has climbed right back in the ballgame.
That free throw by Oliver cuts it to 2, and we've got a timeout on the floor. 2 minutes and 39 seconds left in the first half in Raleigh, North Carolina. NC State 31, Georgia Tech 29.
Guys, don't spend Valentine's Day in line and run the risk of a disappointed sweetheart. Instead, go online now. Send her a gift she'll want to show off. Beautiful roses for just $19.99. She gets roses, you save 50%. Order now and she also gets this elegant vase and personalized card free. Or dazzle her with this deluxe gift. Classic red roses, a spa kit, and all these extras for just $20 more. Hurry, supplies are limited. We deliver on time any day of the week, guaranteed. So schedule your perfect delivery delivery day now. Go to proflowers.com. Click on the microphone in the upper right corner. Enter Classic in the box.
ProFlowers' value is incredible.
All the other girls in the office are always jealous.
He made all the other men look pretty bad. I really enjoyed getting the roses. They were just gorgeous.
This TV offer is 50% less than retail pricing, but only if you go to proflowers.com. Click on the microphone in the upper right corner. Enter Classic in the box. Or call toll-free 1-800-FRESHEST and mention TV. Go online now.
People really love Snapshot from Progressive, but don't just listen to me. Listen to these happy Progressive customers.
I plugged in Snapshot, and 30 days later, I was saving big on car insurance.
I was worried it would be hard to install, but it's really easy.
The better I drive, the more I save. I wish our company had something this cool. Yeah. You're not filming this, are you?
Aw, camera shy. Snapshot from Progressive.
Plug into the savings you deserve with Snapshot from Progressive.
Watch ESPN lets you watch the ESPN network streaming live on your tablet, smartphone, or computer. Download the Watch ESPN app or visit watchespn.com.
Along with Dan Bonner, this is Bob Rathbun back at NC State. 2:39 left in the first half, and NC State leading Georgia Tech 31-29. The big guns, Dennis Scott has scored 8. 4 of those on one play. Kenny Anderson has 6. Oliver 5. Rodney Monroe has 9. Corchiani a couple of threes for 6.
Game has really slowed down, as we mentioned. North Carolina State off to that 25-10 lead, but then Georgia Tech has been able to slow down the pace of the game, and as the game has gotten slower, the Yellow Jackets have played better.
NC State, Dan, had 23 points in the first 9 minutes of this game, and have scored 8 since. The runner, no. Looks like it might have been touched in the cylinder, but it's out of bounds to Georgia Tech.
Again, excellent defense by Georgia Tech against Corchiani. Make him get up in the air, and if he's floating like that, make him shoot the basketball. They drop off, cover his passing options. Not really a good decision to shoot that ball by Chris, but once you get up in the air, you've got to do something with it.
Georgia Tech now bidding to tie. Oliver tipped and stolen by Gugliotta.
Boy, fake up, pass down. A bounce pass has Dennis Scott matched up inside against Corchiani, almost a guaranteed 2.
Howard keeping NC State at arm's length. 33-29 leaders, the Wolfpack.
North Carolina State has a couple of forwards in Gugliotta and Howard that can really run the floor.
I've been so impressed with the way Gugliotta has played today at both ends of the floor. Matched against Oliver, chasing him through the lane. Scott, as Corchiani came to double, knocked out of bounds.
Scott that time was looking for Kenny Anderson to go to the basket. Anderson standing there, giving Corchiani the opportunity to drop off.
Change for Georgia Tech, and James Munley is in now for Georgia Tech. And Johnny McNeil, no, he'll stay in. It's going to be Brian Oliver to go out of the game.
Oliver's got those 2 personal fouls. There's only a minute and 24 seconds left in the first half. Excellent job by Oliver to stay out of foul trouble. Of course, once he got those 2 fouls, that's when Georgia Tech went into the zone to try to protect him. And with Oliver going out of the game, Tom Gugliotta is going to go out as well.
Munley bottled up by D'Amico.
That's terrible. You get off the bench and suddenly you got 3 guys in your face where you're trying to dribble the ball. He's probably very relaxed over there.
Shot clock at 5. Scott missing, gets his own rebound.
Mickey Hennett didn't block him out. Got to block out that shooter, particularly when it's Dennis Scott, because he's going after the ball.
And Corchiani knocks it out of Anderson's hands, but Kenny gets it back. They still fight for it. D'Amico dives into the pile. Held ball. Possession NC State.
Corchiani gets his hands on this basketball. See Anderson holding it above his head, waiting for the cut to come. Watch Anderson. He gets this ball, and I think if Munlin doesn't knock him down, they recover the ball. But once he falls down, North Carolina State right on top of it.
3rd turnover for Kenny Anderson today. 33-29 NC State. The shot clock at 35 with the game clock that you see at 39. So about a 4-second differential. Mickey Hennett.
Georgia Tech had drawn to within 2. North Carolina State with the opportunity here to stretch that back out to 6 or 7.
Georgia Tech had a chance to tie the game.
That's right. That's right. It's been a game of runs.
Shot clock at 7, 6. Torchiani for 3. Rebound Scott with 4 seconds. 3. Dennis from three-quarter court. And for mere mortals, you don't even think about it. But for Scott, it's got a chance. So we've got halftime in Raleigh with the Wolfpack of NC State hanging on to a 4-point lead at 33-29.
If you're tired of stabbing your fingertips to test your blood glucose, we have news that could change your life. The Embrace meter from Diabetes Care Club is nearly painless. And the best news is that Diabetes Care Club would love to send you one of these meters. Call now to find out why. Nearly 250,000 patients have joined Diabetes Care Club. Membership is free, so is the call.
Call 1-800-929-6087.
Talk to Diabetes Care Club. You'll be glad you did.
Jared Sullinger aims to keep the Buckeyes atop the Big Ten, but the Spartans look to knock them off their perch. And the top-ranked Wildcats face a huge SEC road test against Vandy. Michigan State, Ohio State at 6, Kentucky, Vanderbilt at 9. Saturday on ESPN.
English football's ultimate rivalry. Saturday, Man U, Liverpool, 7:30 a.m. on ESPN2.
Mesothelioma victims and their loved ones may be entitled to a cash award from the $18 billion in asbestos trust funds. Even if a loved one had mesothelioma or asbestos lung cancer and has passed, your family may still be entitled to a cash award. Call now to see if you qualify. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with mesothelioma or lung cancer caused by exposure to asbestos,
call 1-800-948-5717.
My name is Fernanda. I'm the wife of a teacher. Budget cuts affected my husband's salary, so I'm picking up some part-time work. We're doing everything we can to make sure our kids eat today. Tomorrow, I just don't know. Fernanda, how'd I do?
Well, I usually fold the underwear first.
I meant the acting, but good to know.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
Back in Raleigh, NC State with a 5-point advantage over Georgia Tech.
You know, Bob, people talk about the passing ability of Kenny Anderson, and it is great, but if you've got guys standing around scratching their noses, it doesn't help if you're throwing good passes. That's a great pass, but Ryan Oliver being very active, looking for the ball, good hands. That's a great catch to lay it in. If you don't have guys looking for the ball and the ball's bouncing off their heads, going out of bounds, then it doesn't help to be a good passer.
Georgia Tech known for that three-point weapon. It has not been there today.
With that timeout, Bobby Cremins switching the defense. Georgia Tech back into a man-to-man.
45-40, NC State.
Carl Brown matched up against Rodney Monroe.
Hangs and drops for Corchiani.
We've seen Anderson take it on Corchiani. That time Corchiani beating Anderson. I don't know how that ball got in the basket.
Dennis Scott, Kenny Anderson. Georgia Tech trailing by 7. Poked away. Scott firing, hitting.
Corchiani coming around from behind. He does that as well as anybody I think I've ever seen. Knocked it away, but right to Dennis Scott.
47-42. The Pack lead again 5. Bryant Figgins. Corchiani faking the 3.
Corchiani asking the referee for a foul out there.
Blocked by Scott.
3-on-1.
Up ahead, Corchiani fouls Oliver.
I don't think that Corchiani realized that Oliver was ahead of him until the ball went over his head. Corchiani, looking behind, suddenly realized as the ball goes over his head that Oliver is there. Now Carl Brown, Kenny Anderson gets his hand on the ball first. Dennis Scott blocks the ball. There's the pass going down the court. See Corchiani, he's turned around. I don't think he realized that Oliver was back there. He gets the foul. Oliver with some great strength getting it in the basket.
First foul on Chris today, and Oliver trying to complete the three-point play. Missed it. Rebound Gugliotta.
Georgia Tech not really a good free throw shooting team.
Now Corchiani backing it out. NC State will set it up here. Gugliotta for 3. D'Amico with a tip. McNeil clearing.
Scott's alone asking for the ball.
And why not?
He was alone in the corner from the time the ball got to half court. Anderson finally saw him. That ties the game. Georgia Tech has come all the way back.
It was 25-10 State early, and Georgia Tech evens things at 47 with 14:02 to play.
Excited to go to that last-minute party tonight? But gray roots are an embarrassing sight. Now you can cover the gray instantly with Gray Away, the temporary root touch-up spray. Just spray the color on the new hair growth for instant touch-ups between hair colorings. Gray Away is not a dye and won't flake or stain. It looks and feels 100% natural. Gray Away works on every hair color, every texture, every time. Gray Away colors roots instantly, so you won't need to color your hair as often. Gray Away is a temporary root touch-up and lasts until you wash it out. Now you can get 40 temporary quick root touch-ups with just 1 can of Gray Away. Find out how you can try Gray Away risk-free. If you don't think Gray Away matches your hair 100%, send it back and owe nothing. Go to getgrayaway.com to try our risk-free offer. We guarantee it'll match perfectly.
To try Gray Away risk-free, go to getgrayaway.com. This offer is not available in stores, so go to getgrayaway.com. Don't delay. Order now.
So you've got bad credit, a minimum wage job, and you need cash now. Who's going to give you a hand? Money Mutual. We've helped people all across America. Money Mutual has the largest network of short-term lenders who can lend you up to $1,000 in cash by tomorrow. Just be 18 or older with a minimum income of $800 a month. And don't worry if you have less than perfect credit. It's time to hear yes for a change. Go to moneymutual.com or call 1-800-585-CASH.
Bob Rathman, Dan Bonner back at NC State. For the first time since this game was knotted at 4, we are even. 47-47. Georgia Tech shot under 40% the first half. They've hit 7 of 8 in the second half.
North Carolina State 6 of 11, which isn't half bad either.
Howard with a turnaround move.
Georgia Tech at that timeout, the Yellow Jackets sort of switching defenses every time there's a stoppage in play. That time back in the zone, North Carolina State doing a nice job getting inside.
McNeil outside Oliver. Got Howard in the air. Gets his own rebound. Battles, puts it up, and a foul. No, he stepped out of bounds, says John Moreau.
North Carolina State gets away with one there. Brian Oliver shoots the ball. Nobody blocks him out. 13 turnovers now for Georgia Tech.
49-47. NC State leading by 2.
Zone defense. Matching up basically out of there, starting a 2-3 set and then just follow the cutters through. Match up really well. There's Gugliotta. That's a nice job by McNeil to get down and put some pressure on Gugliotta.
That ball was tipped by Scott.
That was a real good double team down along the baseline.
15 seconds on the shot clock for NC State.
Jim Valvano's telling his team to spread the court.
Out to Monroe. Shot clock at 5. Monroe firing. Rebounded by Oliver.
Excellent defense. Carl Brown moving his feet, denying the penetration and getting the hand up.
Bobby Crummins leaps off the bench to give the play call.
Man-to-man defense for North Carolina State. Gugliotta really all over Dennis Scott inside. Scott wants the ball in there. A lot of hands. Gugliotta and Scott really grabbing one another.
Gugliotta pops out to stop Brown. The shot clock is at 13 seconds. Scott, rock step. Banker won't go. Here's Anderson and a foul on Kenny.
That was a great defensive sequence by Tom Gugliotta against Dennis Scott.
Boy, how many times have you seen teams play great defense against Georgia Tech for 38, 40, 42 seconds on the shot clock? Now all of a sudden Scott pulls one from out of nowhere, but not that time.
Well, that kind of a play tends to discourage the defense. North Carolina State playing excellent defense, Scott missing. Carl Brown working hard against Monroe.
Corchiani. His third three-pointer of the game.
Georgia Tech elects to drop off Chris Corchiani, and you can't drop that far off. You give him time to get set. He's a deadly three-point shooter.
So after Georgia Tech scored 7 unanswered to tie it, the Pack coming back with 5. Now Georgia Tech silencing the crowd as Oliver scores.
Now how did he catch that ball? That was a bullet pass from Kenny Anderson that Oliver had to catch at the top of his jump.
And a foul on Carl Brown. One of the aspects of Anderson's game that has dazzled me is the fact that he can move right into the lineup and did from opening day, and he makes great passes. But
that's just a bullet pass right there. Corchiani with his hands down isn't able to get him up. But how does Oliver catch that ball? Then once Oliver's in there, he's very tough to deal with.
Anderson seemingly finds everybody. He hits them with great passes, and they have adapted to his style so very well in such a short amount of time.
Scott again with another rebound. Fine job by Dennis Scott on the boards today. Defensive switch now. Howard against Oliver.
Carl Brown, no. But there's Oliver again. And a foul on the Wolfpack. Corchiani.
Once again, Bob, we talk about penetration. And that's such an important factor in a basketball game. What happens right there? Watch Carl Brown as he penetrates in. Brian Howard turns around. Now, he didn't do a very good defensive job, but he had to stop the penetration, and as a result, nobody's available to block out Brian Oliver. He gets the ball as fouled by Corchiani. But that whole thing starts when Carl Brown beats Rodney Monroe out front.
Brian Oliver, as Mickey Hennig comes into the NC State lineup, and Gugliotta goes out. Brian Oliver has scored 13 today, but he's also picked up 6 rebounds.
Georgia Tech really needs him to play well on the boards.
Half of those rebounds on the offensive end. 14 now for Brian. NC State's lead is down to 2.
Chris Corchiani talking to official Donnie Gray. I guess he felt because Oliver still had an arm below the elbow that shouldn't have been fouled.
Brian hits them both. 52-51, NC State.
Interesting defensive switch right here. Anderson now going to match up against Monroe. Tech back in a man-to-man.
Monroe, spin, jumping back. No. Foul, Carl Brown.
I think that's a tough thing to ask Kenny Anderson to do. At this point in the ball game, to switch off and to try to guard Rodney Monroe, and you just saw Monroe with a little more confidence there trying to penetrate against Anderson. He's glad not to see Carl Brown.
Second foul on Anderson, and Monroe at the line. Rodney with 15, moving past Mel Thompson in the 5th place on the all-time NC State scoring list today.
Yeah, we got it, we got it.
Wolfpack by 3.
Nicky Hinnett now is going to try his hand against Dennis Scott.
And Dennis gets some defensive help. Did Hinnett from Rodney Monroe, and the steal for the Wolfpack.
Too much standing around by Georgia Tech.
Brian Howard with 14, and the Wolfpack getting it back up to 5, and Georgia Tech wants a timeout. 10 minutes to go in the game. NC State 56 at Georgia Tech 51.
Does being over 40 make you feel like half the man you used to be? Do you feel more tired, more moody, out of shape, not in the mood like you used to be? If you said yes to any of these questions, it's not your fault. You might have reduced testosterone. Starting in your early 30s, a man's testosterone declines 1 to 3% every year. By age 50, you may have already lost half of your testosterone. That explains a lot. But now, for the first time ever, you can boost testosterone levels safely and naturally to feel like you did 20 years ago. Introducing Ageless Male, a scientific breakthrough clinically proven to increase testosterone levels by, get this, 61%. And today, we're giving you the opportunity to try it risk-free. Dr. Jacob Rosenstein, a leading neurosurgeon, graduate of Johns Hopkins Medical School, and age management specialist, has discovered the secret to boosting testosterone levels naturally.
You'll notice a boost in your energy levels. You'll notice your muscle mass increase. You'll notice fat disappearing around your belly. Your mood will improve.
He's 56. Just look at Dr. Rosenstein's transformation.
I've got two sons, a 26-year-old and a 24-year-old, and I'm in better shape than they are.
So call now and try Ageless Male risk-free. If you would like to experience what healthy testosterone levels can feel like, more energy and increased physical performance, better mood, focus, concentration, and more romance when you want it, you really need to give Ageless Male a try.
It's amazing how you'll feel once your testosterone levels are restored to normal.
Supplies for this risk-free offer are extremely limited, so don't hesitate. Call or go online now.
Call 1-800-498-2079.
State by 5.
Bob, you can't pass the ball inside and stand on offense, because if you do, the defense is able to get on top of you. Nobody cutting for Dennis Scott. North Carolina State with the steal, and then the Wolfpack running well here in the second half. Gets the ball up court for the open jumper. Lead back now to 5 points.
NC State leads the league with 10 steals per game.
Excellent balance by North Carolina State. Nobody really to key on. Jim Valvano said before the basketball game you weren't really going to stop the big three. They haven't so far, but Kenny Anderson has been pretty well contained.
Only one second half bucket for Kenny. And a steal by Mickey Hennon. Lost control of the dribble, and Anderson takes it away. Boy, he was sizing up that dunk when he got to midcourt and didn't control the dribble.
Well, you talk about big guys intimidating shots. That time Hinnant could see Anderson coming, and I think he was intimidated by that. Just lost control of the ball.
9:30 left to play in the game. 56-51. Carl Brown. Tipped out by Gugliotta. But Corgiani loses it.
North Carolina State allowing Carl Brown to catch the ball and shoot it. You'd rather have Carl Brown shooting the ball out there as opposed to Oliver, Scott, or Anderson. Mackey going to come back in the game. Brown going out. So Georgia Tech is going to go with a little bit bigger lineup. Brown's done a nice job.
Mackey stripped by Corgiani.
You just cannot be putting the ball on the court or bringing it down if you're Georgia Tech inside with Corgiani anywhere in the neighborhood, and you know that he's going to be someplace by because he just leaves his man and goes after the ball.
16 turnovers now for Georgia Tech, and we've got a foul called, and it's on Kenny Anderson, number 3, off the ball, trying to slow down Corgiani.
Corgiani, I think, has really picked up the tempo of his matchup with Anderson here in the second half. Anderson really has not been much of a factor. I think you have to credit that to Corgiani.
Tough shot.
I think he's looking for the foul down there. Doesn't get it.
Anderson throws it away.
Very tough pass, but Anderson, he's thrown a couple of those like that in this game, but he's thrown them to Brian Oliver, who came down with the ball. I think McNeil a little surprised. Turnover number 17 for Georgia Tech, and it's tough to win on the road when you turn the ball over that many times.
5-point lead for NC State, 56-51. Here's Gugliotta, tipped away by Scott. State maintains possession. Howard driving in, left-hander.
That's a matchup. Brian Howard on offense against Johnny McNeil on defense that really concerned the Georgia Tech coaching staff before the game. Howard with a little bit better quickness. That's a very nice move with the left hand, protecting the ball with his body, drawing the foul against McNeil. And now you see Carl Brown come back in. Bobby Cremins and his staff feels that they can guard North Carolina State better in the man-to-man with Brown in the game because of the McNeil-Howard matchup.
Bryant to the foul line, where today he is 1 of 1 and he has scored 14 points. A 73% foul shooter this year. Barely got that one to the rim. It remains a 5-point lead. Boy, you look at Bobby Crummins.
He looks like a guy who's 4 and 18 instead of 18 and 4.
He dies 1,000 deaths during the game. 15 points for Howard. 57-51 NC State. Here's Brown.
NC State's done a nice job here in the last few minutes keeping the ball out of the hands of Dennis Scott. Scott really keyed that run.
Nice screen by Scott, and Kenny Anderson puts it in.
Gugliotta just not quite getting there in time. Need to help out against that Anderson screen out front. You don't want him down that close inside. North Carolina State really spreading out the floor on offense, trying to let Corchiani, Hinnant, Monroe operate. This is a really good ball handling team that North Carolina State has in the game. Everybody out there is a good shooter.
Here's Howard.
Get that penetration, kick it out for the jumper.
Mickey puts it in and draws the personal on Carl Brown.
You spread out the court, Bob, and that eliminates defensive help. Hinnant's able to penetrate in here on the smaller Carl Brown. Nobody comes to help because their men are so far away from the ball. Hinnant gets it, has an opportunity for a three-point play.
Second personal on Carl, and Mickey Hinnant with his first bucket of the day.
And just as in the first half, Bob, when Georgia Tech started to make their run, you felt them coming back in the game. Really get the feeling that North Carolina State's taking this one by the throat here in the second half.
And 7 minutes remaining. Georgia Tech down 7. Oliver had Howard on his hip and really wanted the basketball that time. Scott, my goodness.
That is a long-range three-point shot.
You can always tell on the road, the crowd just goes, ooh. Usually they're dogging the opposing team. 60-56 NC State.
Now what the Georgia Tech coaching staff wants its team to do is sort of pack it back in the middle a little bit more, not get quite so spread out. Nice hands by Brown that time.
Rebound to Carl. Georgia Tech running. Here's Scott for 3. Hello.
Jim Valvano up calling a timeout. That's instant comeback right there. You're down 7, get the ball to Scott twice, boom, you're down 1.
They have released the grip on the throat. 60-59 NC State, and a timeout in Raleigh. We'll be back.
Guys, don't spend Valentine's Day in line and run the risk of a disappointed sweetheart. Instead, go online now. Send her a gift she'll want to show off. Beautiful roses for just $19.99. She gets roses, you save 50%. Order now, and she also gets this elegant vase and personalized card free. Or dazzle her with this deluxe gift: classic red roses, a spa kit, and all these extras for just $20 more. Hurry, supplies are limited. We deliver on time any day of the week, guaranteed. So schedule your perfect delivery day now. Go to proflowers.com. Click on the microphone in the upper right corner. Enter classic in the box.
ProFlowers' value is incredible.
All the other girls in the office are always jealous.
He made all the other men look pretty bad. I really enjoyed getting the roses. They were just gorgeous.
This TV offer is 50% less than retail pricing, but only if you go to proflowers.com. Click on the microphone in the upper right corner. Enter classic in the box. Or call toll-free 1-800-FRESHEST and mention TV. Go online now.
Listen up, America!
Listen up, America. The recent health care bill will not take effect until at least 2014, leaving families and individuals lacking health insurance with no immediate solution to their concerns. But here's the good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide affordable health insurance for all uninsured Americans. And yes, uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Call the health insurance hotline now and get you and your family covered today.
NBA Friday night doubleheader. Coverage of Lakers-Knicks begins at 7:30 Eastern. Then Thunder Jazz at 10:30. Friday on ESPN.
Georgia Tech battles back to within 1 on the strength of 2 Dennis Scott three-pointers. Scott, a person with no conscience, no fear. He knows where that three-point line is. That's against pretty tough defense. Boom, Georgia Tech suddenly back within 1. He is the best clutch three-point shooter that I have ever seen.
Amazing. 13 here in the second half. His last 3 field goals have all been three-pointers. In the second half, he 4 for 5 after, I think, 1 for 7 from three-point range in the first half.
Well, he was shooting. His shooting was 1 for 6 three-point range in the first half, 3 for 12 overall, but he's doing a little bit better than that here in the second half.
You know, he takes an unbelievable play and makes it seem almost routine. He's done it so often. Now the Wolfpack with a 1-point lead. Their three-point gun, Rodney Monroe, a two-pointer, won't go, and Mackey the rebound.
Well, with the game more on the line, you could see the defensive matchup there as Brian Oliver.
Anderson just blows down the floor, a ton of contact. No whistle. It's out of bounds, and the ball belongs to Georgia Tech. Boy, Jimmy Valvano with a look of disbelief.
I think coaches, to get a job as a head coach, you have to practice that look of disbelief. Here comes Anderson. Boy, he draws a crowd. There's Howard going down. Oliver just can't pick up the basketball. Jeez, that's quite a scramble in there. Oliver looks like he hurt his hand. Some adventure on the inside. See Bobby Cremins. He's got that concerned look. You got to practice those looks. Mike Krzyzewski has the great glare.
Yes.
Dean Smith does the arm motion all the time. Terry Holland, of course, with the great haircut now.
In addition to a menacing look at times, here's Scott, another three-pointer.
And that's from downtown again. You know, you get to the point where you have to start believing that he's really going to shoot that thing.
Georgia Tech leading at 62-60. First time Tech's led since. Here's a jump shot, good, as Monroe comes back.
Now that's great defense by Brian Oliver. He makes Monroe move inside the three-point line, so he saves a point by going for the fake.
It was 4-2 Georgia Tech. Now they are tied, and Anderson hits a three. Now this is the shootout that we had thought all along coming into the game that we'd see here this afternoon. It took a while, but here they go. Now it's Monroe's turn.
Again, that matchup here late in the game, Oliver's going to take his turn on Monroe. Carl Brown held the fort most of the game.
Howard to the bucket.
Anderson let him by. Corciani made him pay for it with the great pass. Brian Howard stepping to the basket extremely well.
65-64, Georgia Tech. Oliver lobs it in now to Scott. Oh, Mackey wasn't looking for the pass, but Georgia Tech is able to maintain possession.
Well, of course, Mackey, why in the world would he think Scott would pass it to him?
And Gugliotta, what a great job of defense. Scrambling for it. He's on the sideline. Georgia Tech ball.
And the 45-second shot clock continued to run after the whistle blew. And that's what the Georgia Tech coaching staff is complaining about. When that whistle blew, there were 10 seconds left on the 45-second shot clock, and it ran down to 7 before it was turned off. Now, there was no possession change there, so they got to shoot the ball quickly.
Scott will shoot a pair.
That is not good defense by Mickey Hinnant. With 7 seconds left on the 45-second shot clock, you simply don't want to foul a shot that is that tough. Scott moving to the basket right there. You see Hinnant has his hands on him all the way as Scott goes up. He really whaps him.
A change for the Wolfpack. Ryan D'Amico.
So losing the 3 seconds on the 45-second shot clock doesn't hurt Georgia Tech at all. You see the free throw shooting, very good so far today.
There's D'Amico back in the lineup. And then Scott. 16 second half points, make it 17. 66-64 Georgia Tech. Averaging 28.5. Scott with another one. 67-64 Yellow Jackets.
Back into that zone defense. 1-2-2 right there. They'll match up with the ball.
Monroe for 3. 21 points for Rodney Monroe.
And that was no chip shot either.
No. An answering salvo for the exploits of Dennis Scott. Here's Oliver. Crowd really a factor now. Tied at 67. 3:05 to play. Whistle stops play inside, and a pushing foul on D'Amico. As D'Amico and Mackey have some words, mainly it was D'Amico with the words, as the senior and the freshman go at it.
Jim Valvano's over there with that look of disbelief once again. Mackey bat right there, that's very clear. D'Amico smacks him with that forearm. That's an excellent call. I don't know what Jim Valvano's upset about. Well, yes, I do know what he's upset about. It's a 1-on-1 down the other end. There's 2 minutes and 57 seconds left in a tie game. Of course he's upset about it, but that's very clearly the correct call.
Malcolm Mackey will be shooting a 1-and-1, and Malcolm has really had his problems at the foul line. 31%. Of course, nothing but net. 5 points for Malcolm, and Georgia Tech takes a 1-point lead at 68 to 67.
He looks like he's mad, doesn't he?
B?
Yeah. Doesn't look like a happy man.
No. No, his ball club has just fallen behind by 2, and he just did not get the explanation from the officials that he wanted to hear. And he is really stalking that sideline now. He heard the official said something that it just set him off. 2:50 to play. 69-67, Georgia Tech.
Well, he's got to be very careful that he doesn't get a technical foul. At this point in the game, when your team has the ball, you got to sort of tone that jabbering down a little bit.
Poke away by Oliver. Corchiani back. Lay in Oliver.
That's a big play. Big defensive play by Brian Oliver.
2.5 to go. Monroe.
We talked about that switch defensively. Oliver against Monroe.
And a blocking foul on Carl Brown before the shot.
Boy, Carl Brown can't believe that call.
I thought he got there just a half a
Wow, that's a very difficult call to make. Brown, though, didn't look like he had his feet set.
Right.
The break for Georgia Tech is that's called before the shot. Nice move by Monroe as soon as he hears that whistle to get the ball off, but this isn't the NBA.
Yet.
That's right. Rodney has that to look forward to.
It's the foul shot for his 22nd point.
Got to give Bobby Cremins and his staff some credit. That switch of Oliver onto Monroe resulted in at least one basket as Oliver made that last steal. But Monroe, he's a money player at the end of the game. Ball's going to be in his hands. Wow.
Big second half as the Stars have really turned it up a notch down the stretch here. 23 for Rodney and a 2-point Tech lead.
Man-to-man by State. There's D'Amico blasting McNeil.
And a foul on Gugliotta.
North Carolina State being very aggressive on the defensive end of the court. Jim Valvano trying to get the attention of Chris Corchiani. Here you see Gugliotta trying to fight through the screen. Just pushes off. That's a good call. Can't do that. Now Oliver, you saw after the whistle did some pushing off of his own. Of course, the play was already dead.
Brian Oliver with 18 points, and 13 of them coming here in the second half.
Oliver 71% from the free throw line on the year. As a team, Georgia Tech only shoots 69, but of course, Malcolm Mackey and his 31% is a big reason for that, and he's on the bench.
Second won't go. Rebounded by Brian Howard. Well, NC State down by 3. Under 2 to play.
Carl Brown matched up defensively man-to-man against Brian Howard, and he's going to get called for a foul. He's just hanging on for dear life inside.
Well, that wasn't even close. 4 fouls on Carl.
Well, Carl knew what was happening to him. Howard was backing him in there. Georgia Tech has their small lineup in the game. North Carolina State has the big lineup in the game. Once again, Brian Howard causing some matchup problems for Georgia Tech.
17 for this senior from Winston-Salem.
It's been a very quiet but important 17 for Brian Howard.
He's had some big games in league play, 29 against Clemson, and this effort today against the Yellow Jackets. Howard hits them both. 19 for Brian, and NC State within one at 72-71.
Corchiani working very hard to keep the ball away from Anderson, but Anderson's able to get back and get it.
Brown, foul, Rodney Monroe.
Now, it looked like Rodney Monroe was trying to do that. Can afford to be very aggressive with Carl Brown. Carl, not one of the better free throw shooters for Georgia Tech at 62%. Jim Valvano, a man who knows the value of missed free throws. During that run to the national championship, it was uncanny. At the end of every game they played, the opposition missed some big free throws. North Carolina State converting all the way to the championship.
Wolfpack ball. Tech bench screaming for a travel on D'Amico. So the door has been open for the Wolfpack to take the lead back. Corchiani for three. State by 2.
D'Amico with a big-time screen to get Corchiani loose.
NC State by 2 with a minute and 11 to play. Georgia Tech timeout.
Excited to go to that last-minute party tonight? But gray roots are an embarrassing sight. Now you can cover the gray instantly with Gray Away, the temporary root touch-up spray. Just spray the color on the new hair growth for instant touch-ups between hair colorings. Gray Away is not a dye and won't flake or stain. It looks and feels 100% natural. Gray Away works on every hair color, every texture, every time. Gray Away colors roots instantly, so you won't need to color your hair as often. Gray Away is a temporary root touch-up and lasts until you wash it out. Now you can get 40 temporary quick root touch-ups with just 1 can of Gray Away. Find out how you can try Gray Away risk-free. If you don't think Gray Away matches your hair 100%, send it back and owe nothing. Go to getgrayaway.com to try our risk-free offer. We guarantee it'll match perfectly.
To try Gray Away risk-free, go to getgrayaway.com. This offer is not available in stores, so go to getgrayaway.com. Don't delay, order now.
If you have diabetes and you're on Medicare, call now to get the new talking meter. These new meters are more accurate, they're easier to use, and the best news is you don't have to prick your fingers anymore. Arriva makes it simple. They bill Medicare directly. There are no upfront costs, and they deliver your supplies right to your door for free.
For more information, call 1-800-264-8917.
Very good strategy by the North Carolina State coaching staff. Georgia Tech 5 of 5 from three-point range in the second half. If you're on the defensive end, do you want to get beat by Dennis Scott burying three-pointers, or you want to try your luck with Carl Brown at the free throw line? Try that a time or two. Brown missed. Corchiani converts the three. Now State's ahead by 2. That's real good strategy.
Howard has Scott. Gugliotta has Oliver. That's the time left. Shot clock shows 22.
Now he's a little out of range right there, probably.
Are you sure?
No, I'm not. It's game clock down at the bottom.
Shot clock at 13. Here's Scott going in, gets bumped. He'll go to the line. And D'Amico picks up personal number 4.
Very good movement on offense by Georgia Tech. And Dennis Scott, you've got to respect his ability to shoot the three. Brian Howard's got to come up to him. Scott recognizes, penetrates to the basket. Very nearly got that one to go in. 2 big free throws.
Dennis Scott. Feather touch, his 27th.
Now the best he can do right here for Georgia Tech is tie. If he makes this, it's 74 all. 41 seconds left in the ball game. North Carolina State can play for the last shot.
Georgia Tech has 1 timeout remaining. NC State 2. We are tied at 74. Wolfpack bringing it up.
Lots of time left, lots of time. The Wolfpack has to be very careful. They obviously want to hold the ball for the last shot, but aggressive defense can sometimes really frustrate a team trying to do this. Now Jim Valvano is going to call a timeout. He's got the ball handlers to hold the ball to get a good shot.
20 seconds remaining. The Wolfpack now with 1 timeout remaining. Georgia Tech with 1. 20 seconds left. Wolfpack ball at side court. 74-74 is our score.
If you're a North Carolina State Wolfpack, the last thing that you want to do is take a shot early in this 20-second period that's left. Even if you're going to make a 2-pointer early, I don't know that you want to go right after it, because you're going to give Dennis Scott the opportunity at the end of the game. So I think if you're North Carolina State, Jim Valvano, of course, talking about strategy. One thing that they're talking about is to be careful with the basketball. Wait to take the opportunity. If you shoot the last shot of the game and miss, the worst you do is go into overtime.
That's right. Win it or OT.
And I don't know, you know, that's, if you have the open shot, maybe go ahead and take it. But it was just, I'm very leery if I'm the coach of giving Dennis Scott the opportunity from 3 at the end of a game.
I mean, he is just so uncanny in hitting those clutch shots. A buzzer beater his freshman year against DePaul. The Carolina game we all remember last year in Atlanta. Beat Pittsburgh earlier this year with an 8-footer.
And it's not just the games where that's obvious. He's had some games where his team has lost. He's hit big 3-pointers late in the game, but then the opposition has made the last basket of the game. I would hate to have it in his hands if I'm the opposition coach.
Ryan Howard to trigger. Oceanic quickly putting that ball on the floor. Here we go.
Tough spot for Georgia Tech. You got to play that tough D. You don't want to foul. Here we go.
Monroe with Oliver on him. Monroe. We've got overtime.
Great defense by Georgia Tech.
Boy, they did a great job, as you pointed out, Dan, without fouling. We go to overtime in Raleigh, and maybe some more of that Valvano OT magic is on its way.
I've got to tell you, a few weeks ago, I saw the White's metal detector ad on TV. In no time at all, my local dealer had me out treasure hunting. I was finding the good stuff my first day. And the best part? You can see what's in the ground before you dig it up.
Your treasure hunting adventure can start right now. Call for your free catalog.
My wife said I needed a healthy hobby. She's proud of the weight I've lost and really proud of this.
Call now.
Rivalry week is hotter than ever as #1 and #3 in the country put their feet to the fire. Double-double man Jared Sullinger aims to keep the Buckeyes atop the Big Ten, but the Spartans look to knock them off their perch in Columbus. And are you serious? Top-ranked Kentucky faces a huge SEC road test against Vandy, who have a history of taming the Wildcats at home. Michigan State, Ohio State at 6, Kentucky, Vanderbilt at 9, Saturday on ESPN.
AT&T UVerse is bringing shopping to your television. Tune into the As Seen on TV network on UVerse Channel 37 for unlimited access to some of the hottest products on television. See your favorite products in action, discover new possibilities, and get great ideas for that perfect gift 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Finally, entertainment meets shopping. Tune in to the As Seen on TV network, Channel 37. Shop now.
You deserve the best in entertainment at the best value. AT&T UVerse brings you all of this and more through innovative product features like the wireless receiver, a dynamic all-screen experience, exclusive interactive applications, and exceptional customer service. AT&T UVerse is TV like you've never seen before.
Overtime in Raleigh. Tied at 74, Georgia Tech and NC State.
North Carolina State gets the last shot here from Rodney Monroe, but you'll notice Brian Oliver doing a terrific defensive job, makes Monroe catch the ball far from the basket, knocks it away. Great movement of the feet, and he goes up. Notice Oliver did not leave his feet, stayed on his feet, got his hands up in the air. Three-point shot, even for Rodney Monroe, is a very tough one under defensive pressure. Excellent job by Brian Oliver.
NC State has owned overtimes under Coach Jim Valvano. Of their last 7 overtime games, the Wolfpack winning 2 of them. 10-6 all-time under V in overtime. And the big 3 really carrying Tech in the second half.
Tech scored 45 points in the second half after only having 29 at halftime. And Oliver, Scott, and Anderson scored 40 of those 45 points.
Second overtime game for the Wolfpack. They lost to Duke in an overtime period when Gugliotta tipped one in.
Jim Valvano wanting to know why they're going to retoss the ball. Bobby Kremen's very happy they are.
Georgia Tech with its second overtime game. They lost in overtime at Virginia. 74-74.
Man-to-man defense for Georgia Tech. Again, that Brian Oliver, Rodney Monroe matchup has been a very good one. Oliver doing a tremendous job. Carl Brown, who had the task most of the game, is on the bench. Georgia Tech going with the big lineup.
Shot clock down to 14 seconds. Wolfpack now getting serious about the hoop. D'Amico leaves it short and a foul inside, and it's going to be on the Wolfpack.
Looks like Tom Gugliotta trying to get to the board. Now, if you're Georgia Tech, as Gugliotta picks up foul number 4, that's what you'd like to have from North Carolina State on the offensive end. If you play your defense well enough to force Brian D'Amico into a turnaround jumper from the corner, even given the fact that D'Amico's been on a pretty good shooting streak, you'd rather have him shooting the ball than any of the other guys out there.
Johnny McNeil, just 4 points today. He has not scored in the second half. 2 of 2 at the line. He's contributed 7 rebounds and puts Georgia Tech in front.
He's actually a very good free throw shooter, 76% on the year. Jim Valvano. The coaches have that other move, too, where they sit there and have their hands up while they're talking to their assistants.
McNeil's second shot is also true. Down to 6, now 76-74, Yellow Jackets. Maryland with a 4-point win in North Carolina today. Georgia Tech trying to win on Tobacco Road as well.
Tech stays in the man-to-man. Monroe. That's great defense by Oliver. Just tremendous defense by Oliver.
Howard. Ball bounced on the end line. Georgia Tech ball.
Ball actually grazed off Howard's back. He didn't realize the ball was there. It hit him in the back and went out of bounds.
76-74. Georgia Tech with the lead. Looking for a good shot here.
And what's the 5-second count? There it is. Bobby Cremins is livid over on the sidelines. He wanted Kenny Anderson to come and get that basketball. Bobby's smiling now, but just you see him right there. He's telling Kenny Anderson to go get the ball, come out and get the basketball. Just as we were saying, got to be careful that 5-second violation. There's the whistle. Nice defense by NC State.
Corchiani kicks it out to Hennon. And Corchiani had Anderson by the arm. And that will be the 3rd foul on Corchiani.
Anderson was right there. Corchiani holding him down. Boy, he's a competitor. What a competitor he is.
Not to be denied, that's for sure.
Now, we might want to point out, here you go, there's Anderson. You can see he goes up and leaves his right arm down on, locked up with Chris Corchiani. That Chris Corchiani hairstyle, he had that before Terry Holland, so he's not copying Terry Holland. It's the other way around. Corchiani, you can see they're slamming the ball down on the court.
Anderson will be shooting a 1-1. Kenny has not been to the line today. 71% foul shooter this season. Flags it out, and it's NC State again with a chance to tie with a 2. Take the lead with a home run shot. Howard for 3. Wolfpack lead.
We said coming into the ball game he had more three-pointers in league play than Rodney Monroe, so he is extremely dangerous. That's a foul against Mickey Hinnant.
And free throws for Brian Oliver with NC State on top, 77-76.
What great recognition by Brian Oliver as he catches the ball. He realizes he has a lane to the basket, just explodes to the hoop. Mickey Hinnant can't recover in time.
A 1-and-1 opportunity for Brian Oliver. Free throw is good by Oliver. Elsewhere in college basketball today, a three-pointer at the buzzer, we understand. Notre Dame shocking Syracuse at the Carrier Dome. Well, Georgia Tech would like to use some luck at the Irish to pull this one out. They've got a 1-point lead, 78-77, with 3:10 left.
Well, I don't know that they have any Irishmen out there at the moment, but an English guy, Carl Brown's guarding the ball. He's going to have to do.
Monroe. Gugliotta. He stayed way away from the bucket. Monroe's going to penetrate, fire, miss. Gugliotta fights for it. Near steal by Anderson. And Kenny trying to poke it away from behind. Tipped out. Belongs to State.
Shoe on the other foot that time for Chris Corchiani. Usually he's running after somebody trying to steal the ball. Anderson very nearly got one right there.
2:35 remaining in overtime in Raleigh. Here's Hinnant open. High to get it, Brian Oliver.
That's quite a rebound by a guard.
Very impressive.
Are you kidding me?
78-77 Yellow Jackets. 2:20 left. Dennis Scott loses Gugliotta. Missed the shot. Monroe, they dive for it. State controls with Hinnant. Georgia Tech leading by 1. Corchiani up, rejected by Scott. Kenny Anderson tied up, and a foul called on the Wolfpack. Georgia Tech screaming for an intentional foul, but no indication.
Carl Brown makes an excellent defensive play right here as Corchiani penetrates. Watch Brown step in and then leave. Gets Corchiani off his feet. I think he was going to pass to the wing to Hinnant, but Carl Brown went back. Dennis Scott with the rejection. Good block by Dennis Scott, but excellent defense by Carl Brown.
Two-shot foul for Anderson. He hits the first. And Georgia Tech leads 79-77. Anderson has had 8 assists today to go along with his 14 points. Second shot, good. Now the Wolfpack fans sitting back now. Their team down by 3 with 1:36 remaining in the overtime. Hinnant. Monroe, 3 to tie. No. Howard, the big rebound for the Wolfpack.
Great rebound.
Howard pumps it up. He'll shoot 2. Fouls on Dennis Scott.
You just can't play defense against Rodney Monroe any better than Brian Oliver is right now. Watch Oliver. He's out of position on the fake, but he's able to get a hand in there. Nobody blocks out Brian Howard. He's able to get the ball, gets it back to Monroe. Dennis Scott, now you have to respect the three-point play by Brian Howard. You can see there that the fake as he makes the free throw, that Dennis Scott jumped at the ball. Howard was able to penetrate by.
The foul was on McNeil, they tell us, rather than Scott now. So Howard to the line, bidding for his 24th point. What a game he has played. There's another one.
He has had a big game.
80-79, Georgia Tech. In overtime, and Reynolds.
Georgia Tech would like to get the ball in the hands of Anderson.
Boy, Hinnant's got to be careful. That's a block.
He was pushing him all the way up the court. It was just a matter of time before the whistle blew. North Carolina State partisans asking for a charge. He's right there. He's got his hand on him. You can't put your hands on the guy out there. Right there, he reaches in, and that reach in is what creates the foul situation.
Mickey now with 4. He joins Gugliotta and D'Amico with 4 fouls for NC State. Oliver missing the front end. Howard the rebound, and NC State down a point with the ball.
Georgia Tech has missed a lot of big free throws in the second half.
Brown in regulation. Anderson has missed a front end, and now Oliver a front end of a 1-and-1 here in overtime. Brian Howard, Mickey Hinnon, NC State down a point. Ortiani and Anderson, elbows come high.
18 seconds left on the shot clock.
Looking for Monroe. Now Gugliotta for 3. It's NC State on top by 2. And Georgia Tech is going to take a timeout. Another huge three-pointer for the Wolfpack of NC State, and the home team leading by a deuce and a timeout on the floor.
Wondering what to give that'll wow your Valentine this year? Give something truly unique. Freshly dipped gourmet strawberries from Sherry's Berries. Only the biggest berries are hand-selected, delicately dipped, and artfully decorated. And they're only $19.99. Order now and your Valentine's berries will also arrive with these deluxe premium toppings plus a personalized card free. Just go to berries.com, click on the microphone in the upper right corner, enter code SHOWER in the box.
They were big and red and fresh, and they were super juicy.
Very elegant gift, very affordable.
It's easy to use their website. It's easy to select something that looks good.
I would love to receive those.
I'd love to get them for Valentine's Day, sure.
Order now and double your berries for just $9.99 more. That's twice as many berries. Don't miss out. Order right now and get guaranteed delivery by Valentine's Day. Go to berries.com, click on the mic in the upper right corner, enter code SHOWER in the box. Or call toll-free 1-888-SWEET-90 and mention TV. Go online now.
ESPN College Game Day is hitting the road again.
I think it's the best venue in college basketball. I love coming back here.
Reese, Jay, Digger, Hubert, and Coach Knight will post up at Hoops hotbeds.
The entire Jayhawk Nation here. How can the Big Ten not be the best conference, right? There's nothing like the college atmosphere.
ESPN College Game Day, covered by State Farm. Saturdays at 11 a.m. and 8 p.m. on ESPN, plus an additional hour at 10 a.m. on ESPNU.
NC State 82, Georgia Tech 80, and here's how the Wolfpack got the lead back.
North Carolina State's players do such a great job stepping out beyond the three-point line. Gugliotta, a very dangerous three-point shooter. Got a couple of three-point baskets today. Johnny McNeil just not able to get out on him. And the reason he's not is NC State does such a great job with their penetration. McNeil has to play back in to cut that off. If Gugliotta is going to step out there in this situation and make the basket, it's going to be awfully hard to defend.
Oh, look at those second-half numbers from the three-point land. Torchiani's 3 was the last field goal of regulation. Now Gugliotta's 3 puts NC State up by 2.
20 seconds.
And of course, the Yellow Jackets have not yet been heard from, this time down the floor, and it is Mr. Scott. Short. Oliver, the offensive stick back. No shot. A foul on the Wolfpack and Torchiani. 12 seconds left, and Tech has the opportunity to tie.
That was a bit of a wild shot by Dennis Scott right there. As he stopped, he gets by Gugliotta right here, but as he stops, he slips just a little. Gugliotta doing a great job recovering. Who else? It's Brian Oliver with the ball in the middle of the pack. These are going to be a couple of big free throws. A 1-and-1 for Oliver. He's got 8 rebounds, but this is what's important right here.
Now the bonus.
NC State calls timeout.
12 seconds remaining. And Brian Oliver with 1 free throw, the bonus, coming after the timeout.
Looks a lot like it did at the end of regulation, Bob. Dennis Scott went to the free throw line with 40 seconds left in regulation, hit 2 to tie it at 74. North Carolina State got the last shot. Brian Oliver, if he makes this, what you're going to have is North Carolina State with that last shot opportunity with 12 seconds left. I'm sure what Jim Valvano is doing right now over in the North Carolina State huddle is drawing up what they need to do in the event that Brian Oliver makes the basket. If Brian Oliver misses it, of course, what you've got to do is get the ball up within 10 seconds because there's still 12 seconds left in the ball game. But obviously, if he misses it, you do not need a shot. Just have to keep the ball moving, try to stay off the free throw line.
82-81 NC State with 12 seconds to play. Oliver with that free throw coming back. With the situation, Dan, when you're on the road in a tie, and as you set it up, NC State obviously to take that last shot, you come with some full court pressure if Oliver can make it here?
Well, I think you try to slow them down. The thing in this kind of a situation, if Oliver makes this and North Carolina State gets the last shot, it's not usually that jump shooter that's going to beat you. It's usually the tip. So what you got to do is make sure you guard the jump shooter, but you also block out. But that's a moot point unless Oliver can make this one.
He's got it.
And here's the full court pressure that you talked about. You do not want to foul.
7 seconds for Cortiani. The ball will be in Chris's hands to win the game here. Scott snuffs it, and we go to double overtime. A second overtime period to come at Reynolds Coliseum. We're all tied at 82.
Does being over 40 make you feel like half the man you used to be? Do you feel more tired, more moody, out of shape, not in the mood like you used to be? If you said yes to any of these questions, it's not your fault. You might have reduced testosterone. Starting in your early 30s, a man's testosterone declines 1 to 3% every year. By age 50, you may have already lost half of your testosterone. That explains a lot. But now, for the first time ever, you can boost testosterone levels safely and naturally to feel like you did 20 years ago. Introducing Ageless Male, a scientific breakthrough clinically proven to increase testosterone levels by, get this, 61%. And today, we're giving you the opportunity to try it risk-free. Dr. Jacob Rosenstein, a leading neurosurgeon, graduate of Johns Hopkins Medical School, and age management specialist, has discovered the secret to boosting testosterone levels naturally.
You'll notice a boost in your energy levels. You'll notice your muscle mass increase. You'll notice fat disappearing around your belly. Your mood will improve.
He's 56. Just look at Dr. Rosenstein's transformation.
I've got 2 sons, a 26-year-old and a 24-year-old. And I'm in better shape than they are.
So call now and try Ageless Male risk-free. If you would like to experience what healthy testosterone levels can feel like, more energy and increased physical performance, better mood, focus, concentration, and more romance when you want it, you really need to give Ageless Male a try.
It's amazing how you'll feel once your testosterone levels are restored to normal.
Supplies for this risk-free offer are extremely limited, so don't hesitate. Call or go online now.
Call 1-800-498-2079.
We're back in Raleigh in overtime. Second OT coming up. Georgia Tech 82 and NC State 82. Well, Chris Cortiani had the ball in his hands to try to win the game and really never got set to launch that last shot.
Not a very good sequence for North Carolina State. You see Cortiani took his time getting the ball up the court. Anderson moving his feet very well. Dennis Scott's going to sneak over here with the blocked shot.
Yeah, I think the pressure ate some valuable time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no question about that. I think Cortiani was trying, in that kind of a situation, you don't want to hurry the ball, and I think Cortiani got too carried away with trying to take his time. He didn't have that much.
D'Amico and Mackey to jump to start the second overtime period. And D'Amico wraps up the tip and gives it over to Gugliotta. Inside, Brian Howard scores, puts it in.
Bob, interestingly enough, there's an awful lot of guys in this game with 4 fouls. Cortiani, one of them, very nearly got number 5. In this second overtime, every time the whistle blows, there's a potential for somebody to be going to the bench with fouls.
Tied at 84. Oliver now with 24 points in the game. 4:30 left here. Second overtime at Reynolds.
Nice job by McNeil to help out. Side cleared for Corchiani. Man-to-man by Georgia Tech. Brian Oliver's done a great job closing down Rodney Monroe. Monroe has been a long time since he's been heard from.
Howard in and out with the three. Here's Anderson. Tech pushes it up the floor. And a great feed to Malcolm Mackey.
Mackey slipped in there. Brian Howard saw Dennis Scott in the corner and stepped toward the corner, and Mackey slipped into the gap.
86-84. The pressure now shifts to the State end of the floor for the retaliation. Monroe. And he'll go to the line as Johnny McNeil picks himself up off the deck. That's his fourth. So add to that list, Dan, you talked about players with 4 fouls in the game.
You see Brian Howard, you see him turn his head right there and look at Dennis Scott, and when he turns his head to look for Scott, Mackey slips in. Nice job, 9 assists now for Kenny Anderson. Rodney Monroe has 23 points. He scored that 23rd a long time ago. In fact, it was in regulation play, so Brian Oliver doing an excellent defensive job. Monroe there gets number 24. He is a player that it's hard to contain for very long, however.
Monroe looking to tie the game. Georgia Tech 86, NC State 86, second overtime period.
Nice job by Gugliotta to get out there on that screen.
Dennis Scott a little short, but Howard's on the back of Malcolm Mackey.
Well, now Malcolm Mackey is loose in there because first Gugliotta and then D'Amico step over screens to double team Dennis Scott. There's nobody inside to block out against Malcolm Mackey. And even though that's Brian Howard's 4th foul, the good thing for Jim Valvano in this situation is that Mackey only a 30% free throw shooter.
However, 2 for 2 today.
Now that does not look like the stroke of a 30% free throw
Not at
shooter.
all. Boy, he was set, balanced on the line. Nice rotation, nice release.
Maybe that's a misprint in the stat.
Could be. And hits them both. So the freshman, under all the pressure of a second overtime, puts Georgia Tech on top again by 2.
He's got all the points in this overtime.
Well, Oliver had the bucket to start the OT.
So he's got 4 of the 6.
88-86 Georgia Tech, 3:15 remaining in the period.
There's Gugliotta stepping out. McNeil doing a nice job getting out on him. Monroe really having a tough time handling the ball against Oliver.
D'Amico got the board.
Now D'Amico is not nearly as dangerous with that step out jumper.
Up by 2. Anderson banks it, misses it. Rebound out. And the ball belongs to Georgia Tech.
Brian Howard ran the ball down but had his foot on the line as he controlled it. Real good defense by Corchiani against Anderson. He's forcing Anderson to turn back into the middle where he has help. New shot clock. See Corchiani cut him off. That's a great play.
Scott against Gugliotta. Georgia Tech leading by 2. It's Anderson missing. Rebound tipped long, and Scott's got it.
McNeil doing a great job tipping that ball out of there. Georgia Tech with the timeout. I don't think that Bobby Cremins really wanted Kenny Anderson to take that 3-point shot.
And takes time to talk about it.
Hi, I'm Scott Juseum of the Juseum Group. My team can help you with all of your IRS tax problems. Honest and professional, we don't make false promises. Do you owe the IRS? Do you have unfiled tax returns? We cover all the bases to help you get tax resolution fast. Call us today so we can knock all of your tax problems out of the park.
Call 1-800-580-3966. That's 1-800-580-3966.
Rivalry week is hotter than ever as #1 and #3 in the country put their feet to the fire. Double man Jared Sullinger aims to keep the Buckeyes atop the Big Ten, but the Spartans look to knock them off their perch in Columbus. And
Are you serious?
top-ranked Kentucky faces a huge SEC road test against Vandy, who have a history of taming the Wildcats at home. Michigan State, Ohio State at 6, Kentucky, Vanderbilt at 9, Saturday on ESPN.
Mesothelioma victims and their loved ones may be entitled to a cash award from the $18 billion in asbestos trust funds. Even if a loved one had mesothelioma or asbestos lung cancer and has passed, your family may still be entitled to a cash award. Call now to see if you qualify. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with mesothelioma or lung cancer caused by exposure to asbestos,
Call 1-800-948-5717.
My name is Fernanda. I'm the wife of a teacher. Budget cuts affected my husband's salary, so I'm picking up some part-time work. We're doing everything we can to make sure our kids eat today. Tomorrow, I just don't know. Fernanda, how'd I do?
Well, I usually fold the underwear first.
I meant the acting, but good to know.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
Reynolds Coliseum in Raleigh, North Carolina. Bob Rathbun, Dan Bonner, and we have enjoyed a dandy today.
Bob, that's an interesting point about Rodney Monroe and Dennis Scott. They were the two guys that really got their teams to the overtime situation, but since then, it's been excellent defense by Gugliotta and Howard against Dennis Scott. It's been tremendous defense by Brian Oliver against Rodney Monroe.
Inside spinning is Oliver, and he puts it home.
And Oliver is the guy who's really stepped up for Georgia Tech. Big game for Brian Oliver.
90-86, Georgia Tech. Time remaining in the second overtime. Torchiani faking. Here's Monroe.
It's a big possession for North Carolina State.
It's almost to the point, Dan, where they have to score this time down the floor.
It's loose.
28 for Monroe.
Monroe does a great job using the screens that he has. With his cuts and fakes, he really rubbed Brian Oliver off very well.
1 point Tech lead. Second overtime in Raleigh. Scott.
Nice.
Kenny Anderson. He goes baseline. Blocked by Gugliotta out of bounds.
Gugliotta with a great defensive sequence. First of all, stepping out, switching very aggressively on Dennis Scott, not letting him get the shot off. And then as Anderson penetrates, Gugliotta's going to follow and block the shot. That's really a nice play.
McNeil inbounding now, getting it over to Kenny Anderson. Shot clock at 20.
I don't know why the shot clock hasn't been reset. That's a shot. That shot clock should have reset on that particular play.
Now the Yellow Jackets with Oliver driving. There's a shot blocked by Feggins, and Howard saves it. Torchiani. Here's Gugliotta. Wolfpack still down a point. 55 seconds left in the second overtime. The shot clock right now hitting 30 seconds. And State takes a timeout. 50 seconds left in the second overtime. The Wolfpack grouping on the sideline, trailing by 1.
Excited to go to that last-minute party tonight? But gray roots are an embarrassing sight. Now you can cover the gray instantly with Gray Away, the temporary root touch-up spray. Just spray the color on the new hair growth for instant touch-ups between hair colorings. Gray Away is not a dye and won't flake or stain. It looks and feels 100% natural. Gray Away works on every hair color, every texture, every time. Gray Away colors roots instantly, so you won't need to color your hair as often. Gray Away is a temporary root touch-up and lasts until you wash it out. Now you can get 40 temporary quick root touch-ups with just 1 can of Gray Away. Find out how you can try Gray Away risk-free. If you don't think Gray Away matches your hair 100%, send it back and owe nothing. Go to getgrayaway.com to try our risk-free offer. We guarantee it'll match perfectly.
To try Gray Away risk-free, go to getgrayaway.com. This offer is not available in stores, so go to getgrayaway.com. Don't delay, order now.
Listen up, America!
Listen up, America. The recent health care bill will not take effect until at least 2014, leaving families and individuals lacking health insurance with no immediate solution to their concerns. But here's the good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide affordable health insurance for all uninsured Americans. And yes, uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Call the health insurance hotline now and get you and your family covered today.
Watch ESPN lets you watch the ESPN network streaming live on your tablet, smartphone, or computer. Download the Watch ESPN app or visit watchespn.com.
Thing that makes North Carolina State so dangerous is everybody they've got out there can shoot the basketball.
Here's Monroe. Corchiani.
15 on the shot clock. That's the game clock you see on your screen.
It's Corchiani to take it. Missed it. Gugliotta with a tip. No. Howard with a tip. We've got a whistle and a foul on Howard. He was on the back. And Georgia Tech will go to the line with a 1-point lead and 30 seconds to go. And Howard is fouled out of the game.
Chris Corchiani with a tough shot right here, but you drop off him. He shoots the ball. Gugliotta, that's a great play to get in there for the tip. Carl Brown, tremendous block out. Carl Brown never left his feet, just blocked out Brian Howard. Howard with 26 points fouls out. Carl Brown going to the free throw line. Georgia Tech 80% from the line, 28 of 35. North Carolina State, you see right there, 16 of 18. Carl Brown missed the big front end of a 1-and-1 at the end of regulation.
And he's just 1 for 3 at the line. Mickey Hennett will come in to take Howard's place.
Now, normally a coach would probably take a timeout right here to make him think about it. State with only 1 left. Brown's going to go to the line.
And hits it. A big free throw for Carl Brown. Still, though, just a 2-point lead.
Just a 2-point lead, even if he makes this. There's 30 seconds left in the ball game. North Carolina State with some 3-point shooters.
Well, the possibility is certainly for this to go to a third overtime. If they're successful.
One way or the other, we're looking that way.
Missed it. But a big rebound for Johnny McNeil.
Boy, how did he get in there? Georgia Tech's got to try to keep the basketball moving right now.
And Anderson will go to the line. Thuggins with the personal.
Boy, what a big rebound by Johnny McNeil.
Well, this may be the ball game.
It drives the coach crazy. Watch McNeil. Gugliotta just doesn't block him out. McNeil just slides right in against Gugliotta. If you're Tom Gugliotta, you have to step back toward Johnny McNeil and move him out of there. Gugliotta just stepped into the lane. McNeil slid right past him.
Kenny Anderson with the 1-and-1. Georgia Tech by 3.
Now, if he makes the second one, you're looking at 2 North Carolina State possessions in the last 23 seconds.
Hits them both. Georgia Tech by 4. State 20 seconds to play. Second overtime. Down by 4.
Don't have a lot of time.
Monroe pops up over a Gugliotta screen. Forces it in a foul. And 2 shots for Monroe with 14 seconds left.
Well, you certainly didn't want to foul that. That's 5 fouls on Johnny McNeil. He's going to foul out of the basketball game. You don't want to give Rodney Monroe that clear shot, and that's what McNeil was worried about. He fouled him.
Can you imagine if that shot somehow would have gone in and a 4-point play?
Oliver there goes for the steal. That's probably not a good play by Oliver. Really puts his teammate in a tough situation. McNeil fortunately gets a real good foul, so that ball has no chance to go in.
So Monroe will shoot 2. State Hill still has a timeout.
McNeil, you noted there on the screen, only has 6 points, but that last rebound was a huge rebound. 9 rebounds in the basketball game from McNeil, none bigger than that last one on the Carl Brown free throw miss. Mackey going to come in the ball game.
And Monroe, 9 of 10 at the line today, shooting 2. Wolfpack trailing by 4. And still by 4.
There's still plenty of time left in the basketball game. He makes this shot, Georgia Tech has to get the ball in bounds. North Carolina State has time for the steal or failing that, a quick foul. Oh, missed them both.
Oh, what an upset for Monroe. And Oliver will go to the line, fouled by Thuggins.
And with those 2 free throw misses, Bob, the crowd is getting up and heading for the portals right here. Boy, you wouldn't expect that. Monroe 9 of 10 from the line coming in. Misses both of them. Jim Valvano not.
An 82% foul shooter. How do you think?
Jim Valvano obviously not pleased with that turn of events. Now again, it's still only a 4-point game. There's 11 seconds left. Oliver's got to cash these in.
27 for Bryant today.
Dennis Scott has been shut down since the end of regulation. You get a look at Dennis right there, but Brian Oliver, what a ball game, particularly in these overtime periods. 11 of 15 from the free throw line.
Hits it again. 28 for Oliver. Georgia Tech leads by 6. Corciani, now Gugliotta for 3. Missed it. Tip Monroe. 3 seconds. 2. Got it. Timeout State. The horn sounds, and that's the ball game. A 3-pointer only gets the Wolfpack within 3. Georgia Tech wins it. The final score in double overtime in Roland. Georgia Tech 95 and NC State 92.
Welcome to AWA